Hello, Mr. Andy here. Part 2 now for week 1. I'm just going to really quickly fly through these other drawings. I won't always draw everything for you in a demonstration just this first week, just to give you a sense of how to produce these things. So here's our next part. It's this shape right here that you see on the right. We're going to produce this again on the front plane. It's going to be 48 millimeters thick when we're done. So new part file. This is a metric part. Again, we're going to go to the front plane over here, click on it, and start a sketch. Again, I'm going to kind of rough sketch. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. I'm going to make that first line around 110 or something. Again, you don't have to be real close. I'm going to go up some distance. I'm going to come over. I'm going to come down. I'm going to come back across and straight down. I'm going to go ahead and get some dimensions in here before I go any further. So I want to get the overall length here at 107. By the way, I just hit the shortcut key there and typed the D. You can also go up and click on the menu. This is 41 high. For this part, I gave you a thickness of 11 here. I also gave you that dimension over here so you can put both in. So there's the L shape, if you will, and I still have these two circles to deal with here. So let's zoom up a little closer now. All right. So let's get these circular features in. This point, again, it doesn't say so, but we have to assume that it's in line with the bottom of the part because we have no other information here. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go up here to the circle tool. Yes, those are arcs, but we're going to start with a circle. And I'm going to just put my mouse on this line. I want you to notice this point right here. That's the midpoint of the line. If I put my center point there, it's going to be locked to the midpoint. We don't want that to happen because that creates a relationship that would eliminate this 51 millimeter dimension. We don't want to ever eliminate a dimension or add dimensions. So what I want to do is intentionally click somewhere besides that point. So I'm going to go just a little bit to the right and put my first circle in. And then I'll click the same center point and put my second circle in. Okay? Now I'm not going to dimension those first, and I'll show you why. If I dimension them right now, it always will give me a diameter dimension, and you're not allowed to do math. And you could multiply or divide. I know you all know how to do that. But then you'd have to fix the dimension and turn it into a radius dimension, and we don't want to do that. So we're just going to get out of there. So I'll hit OK, and then I'll just delete that dimension. All right, so we're going to trim this up first. So I'm going to click on the trim tool. Now, in the CAD lab, by default, we're in trim to closest over here. There's many different trim modes, and there are a lot of people that like power trim. I'm a fan of trim to closest. I like the way it works. It thinks the way I think, and that's the way the default is set up to in the lab. But at home, you can switch it any way you want, and you can do so in the lab. It will just forget that the next time you come in to go to work. So we're trim to closest. That means whatever you click on is going to disappear. Okay? So I'm going to click here, and it's just going to take that piece away. I'm going to click here, take that piece away. I'm going to click here, take that piece out. I'll get rid of this piece. I'll get rid of this piece. And then I'll go 1, 2, 3. One difference from AutoCAD, in SolidWorks, if you click a line that's not got a boundary, it'll take it out. So it does work like a delete key. I just undid that. So do be careful because in AutoCAD you don't see that behavior. All right, now I have arcs here. And now if I dimension them, it will give me a radius dimension. So I'll just click that in, go 19. Click on this one, come out, and we'll put in 30. And then again, I will click on the circumference, not the center point. It's the hardest thing to get used to in SolidWorks from your AutoCAD experience last semester. Hardest thing to do. Click the circumference, click this line, place, and 51. Everything's black. I'm fully defined. I'm good to go. Let me spin this. I'm holding my wheel down on the mouse, and you can see we're in 3D. It's just a two-dimensional sketch, right? So that's kind of cool to see it go flat. Now we'll extrude it. So feature, extrude, 48 millimeters. Done. There's the finished part. Okay? We'll admire it for a moment, and I'm just going to throw it away. All right. Next part we're going to look at, let's slide this over. I'm going to do this one really fast. So this is the shape. There is kind of a construction circle right there. We'll create that in the process, but in your final sketch that probably won't be there. I just put it in there so you could see how these all line up. So let's see how quick we can draw this. This is to go on the top plane. It's going to be 6 millimeters thick. So real fast. New part. Metric part. All right, top plane. Start a sketch. And I'm going to draw a circle right there. I'm going to go ahead and draw the hole. On this one part, you can do it all as a single piece. Don't cut the hole separately. It's okay. I'm going to dimension. Let's do the inside hole at 35. I'll show you how to fix dimensions. So I'm going to do the math. This says radius of 30 because really it's not a full circle when we're done. So I'm going to put a diameter dimension in at 60. And then I'll come over here to liters. So I clicked right there on liters. And I'm going to change it to a radius dimension. All right. If you hand in a part and that says diameter 60 and I gave you R30, it's wrong. You're going to get a point deduction. So you've got to make sure your data exactly reflects the design, exactly reflects the given part, the given design. So yes, there is a difference between a radius and a diameter. It has a different tolerance, and you have to make sure your sketches exactly reflect the given part. Okay, common mistake, and try to save you from doing that. So we have an R30, diameter 35. All right, real quick, I'm going to draw a couple of construction lines or center lines. Okay, so I'm going to come straight down. You can see, by the way, on my mouse the little yellow with a vertical line. That means if I click right now, I'm going to get a vertical relation on that line. Also, if I want a new line, I can double click real fast, and it gives me a new line segment. This one does not have a vertical or horizontal relation. It's just out here in space, so I'm going to drop that one in. Now I'm going to draw a line segment over here. I'm going to make that a horizontal line, and I'm going to draw just a random line out here. That's going to be this line segment here and this line segment that's down there. All right, I need to attach these. I'm going to pick the line. I'm going to pick that endpoint. I'm going to give them a midpoint relation. Midpoint versus coincident, which would just be touching but not in any specific point. Midpoint relation. All right, then I'm going to go this point and this line, midpoint. All right, now I want you to watch, see what's happening here. I need to make these perpendicular for this to work. So we'll do another relation. I'll pick the two lines and we'll make them perpendicular. And then these two lines are the same size. They're both 10 millimeters. So I'm going to pick this line, make them equal. And we'll go ahead and dimension that. So we'll put that 10 millimeter right there. And you'll notice they'll both resize for me. All right. Now I want to get these connecting lines in here. And I'm going to pull these in a little tighter. Actually pretty tight. Notice again, anything that's blue, I can click and drag on it, move it around to make my life easier. All right, I'm going to do a line. I'm going to click on the edge of the circle. Be careful not to hit the quadrant point. And if I move my line carefully here, you can see that it stays tangent. Notice that? And I'm going to, whoops, it just flipped. I'm going to attach it to this endpoint. Now I'm going to do a second line from over here. And I might not get that to flip. There it went. And I'll attach that. If I'm lucky, clicking here, it created that tangent relation for me automatically. Doesn't always do that. So let's try this one. If I move my mouse, it might give me a tangent icon. It's not going to do that. That's fine because I want to show you how to create that relationship manually. This one might go tangent, and we'll click. You can see it's not tangent, so we'll click the line, click the circle, tangent, click the line, click the circle, tangent. All right, now we need a couple more dimensions, 40 millimeter dimensions. So we'll smart dimension here from the circle to there, come out, 40 millimeters. From the circle to the line to the circle. Remember, it grabs a center point, 40 millimeters. And notice we're still blue up here. We're missing a dimension. I think you can see the 120 is missing. So we'll go line to line 120. Whoops. 12 is not good. There we go. Now we just have some trimming to do. I can't leave these internal boundaries in here. If I try to extrude this right now, SOLIDWORKS doesn't know what I want to extrude. I can extrude that or that or that, but because those internal boundaries are in there, they don't work. The construction lines are ignored, but those internal boundaries won't allow me to extrude yet. So let's cancel that, and let's get to the trim tool real quick. And we'll trim out these two pieces and these two pieces. And now we'll extrude. Still unhappy with me, probably because of what I did before. I can get that entire shape now. I'll click right there, and we'll go 10 millimeters. Oh, 6 millimeters, sorry. But that's all right, you get the idea. Finished part. Okay, so there's the next part. Let's see how fast we can move through the others. Probably not going to show you everything, but well, we will on this one. This one has some tricky features. Let's slide this over. Oh, let's slide it over just a little bit more. There we go. All right, new file. Inch part this time. We're going to do the cuts separately. So we have a hole and 2 cut slots. We're going to do those separate. So I just need the outside perimeter. This one asks you to go to the top plane again. So we're going to go to top plane, start a sketch. And all I'm going to do is draw a circle, roughly 1 inch in radius here. I'm going to go straight up, draw a second circle. Now you saw that witness line there between the circles. Looks like a blue dashed line. That doesn't mean there's a relationship there, as we'll see. So I'm going to do a line. I'll click this circle. I'll move and try and keep tangent. If I find the right point here, do you see the tangent icon on the mouse there? It's telling me it's coincident and tangent. I'll click. It should establish that relationship for me. I'm going to double click. I'll pick a point up here. I'll move. Again, very carefully try to find that tangent icon, like so. We'll see what we got. I'll click on that line. It is tangent to both circles. We'll click on this line. It is tangent to both circles. So we got lucky there. All right. I'm going to trim out these inside loops. Zip, zip. Then we'll dimension. So bottom radius is 2. Top radius is 1. And you can see we need a height dimension in here. And the height is 4. And then I need to make a relation between these two circles. Got to get them vertical. So I'm going to grab the 2 center points and create a vertical relation. And now we're fully defined. I'm going to extrude that 1/8 of an inch thick. That's in your directions. So feature, extrude, 0.125. And we'll hit OK. All right, so there's my outside shape. I'm going to click on that front face, start a sketch. Let's go normal 2. Whoops, I don't want a section view. Normal 2. We're looking straight on. Now I want to put that circle in first, so we'll do a sketch. Now I need to make these concentric, right? So this is what I do. I touch the outside edge, and then the center point will light up for me. Okay. There's no snap modes like you had in AutoCAD where you had to click on something. This just does it. And we'll drag it out. I'll go right ahead and dimension that. And it's a diameter of 1. Now I have some arcs down here to represent these. And I'm going to just put 2 circles in for right now. So we're going to do a circle right from the origin there. And then a second circle, like so. Turn that tool off. All right, now I'm going to draw in these construction lines. I showed them to you in your sketch. I won't do that in future assignments. You'll have to figure out how to make it work, but I've shown you all the construction geometry I created here, so you can work from it. So I'm going to draw a construction line or center line, one going up this way, one going up this way. Careful not to attach it to something or follow this yellow line. If I follow that line, it's going to make it perpendicular to something or whatever. So do be careful when you're clicking not to follow witness lines unless you know that's what you want, because that witness line is going to create some kind of automatic relation if you follow that yellow line. So I'm just going to go out here in space somewhere. And then I'm actually, even though you don't see them, I'm going to create a construction line, center line. Those two terms are interchangeable. You'll see them used in SolidWorks literature, both terms, down like that. And it really doesn't matter where they are. I want to make sure I didn't create a relation here on that one. It doesn't look like I did, so we're good. Finally, I need one more center line, construction line. I'm going to put one in right here. One of the things I want you to not do or be careful with is not to create too much extraneous geometry. Don't create another center line going this way. Even though you see it over here, you don't need it. All right? I did this as one long line and midpointed it to the origin or something. You don't need to do that. So now let's get some dimensions in here. So smart dimension, and I'll put the 25-degree angle there. And from here to this line, and put the 55 over here. And now I'm going to trim some pieces out. Don't have any dimensions to do down here yet. I'm going to trim, I'm sorry, and we'll cut out these two pieces, and we're going to have to click 4 times over here. There we go. All right. Now, let's go ahead and dimension these arcs. Now that they're trimmed up, I can get the radius dimension. I don't have to do any math. 1.5. Notice that these two arcs have a relation still because they were cut from the same circle. So once I dimension this one also turned black. I'll dimension this one at 1 inch. And notice both pieces move. Okay, so they're still related to each other. They are co-radial, so they have the same center, same radius. All right, we have a tool up here. That's the arc tool. I'm going to do a tangent arc. I'm just going to click here and drag in this direction, and I can just loop around and connect. Click and drag out, loop around and connect. Click and drag out, loop around and connect. Be careful how you drag. If you go the wrong way, it gives you something you don't want there. So make sure you peel out in the direction the arc's going to go. All right, that's looking better. So this arc is fully defined. It has all the information it needs. This one is not yet, because these two arcs are supposed to be tangent to that center line. So we're going to make that happen with a relation. So I'm going to pick this arc, pick that line, make them tangent. You can see it's black now. We're going to do the same thing over here with this same line. Even though it's not shown over here, it's an infinite line. So I'm going to pick that construction line, pick that arc, make them tangent. Now this sketch is fully defined. Everything is black. Don't worry about the blue endpoints on construction lines are ignored by SolidWorks. A blue endpoint on a solid line is not ignored. All right, so now we want to cut that. I'm going to do a cut. Again, through all, and hit OK. Finish part right there. All right, say goodbye. Don't save. What else we got in store for you today? I'm not going to draw this part, but I'm going to show you how to do a mirror. This is a symmetrical part, and right and left are identical, so we just draw one side, create all the relations, and then we just mirror it over. I'm just going to kind of show you real quick how to create a mirrored sketch. So let's start a new part. We'll do a metric part. I'm going to go to the front plane and start a sketch, and I'm going to begin with a center line. Okay. Then I'm going to draw some lines. We'll just do a little bit of it. Let's come back down to there. All right. You can dimension this if you want, or you can just go ahead and mirror it, and I'm going to do that. I'm just going to mirror it, and then we'll dimension it. So here's the shape. I'm going to click on Mirror Entities right here. Like AutoCAD, I can do a crossing box. If I drag to the left, we'll grab all the geometry. If you drag to the right, it's a window. It has to be entirely in the window to be selected. And then I'll click over here where it says Mirror About. I'll pick the center line. I'll hit OK. Now here's what's cool, unlike AutoCAD. This line is a solid line. So it doesn't, the mirror is not a bunch of separate pieces necessarily. Now I can dimension. Pick that line, come down, make that 100 millimeters. I can make an angular dimension here. It's going to keep it symmetrical when I do that. If I put a dimension between these points, and let's make it noticeably smaller so you can see it's going to move symmetrically. Okay, everything's going to stay symmetric around the center line in a mirrored part. So you just place all your dimensions. If I click on a piece of geometry, I'll just show you. Oops, it uses the points. There's that symmetric relation is tied to that point. So these 2 points are forced to be symmetric. If I move that point, it moves both sides. Okay, the part is permanently symmetric unless I delete that relationship. And by the way, you can click right there and hit the delete key and delete that relation. So if you need to get rid of a relation, you can delete them right out of that box. Okay, so that's how a mirror works. I'm going to just throw that away. Okay, nothing else here I really need to show you on this part. Finally, on this one, there's just one quick thing I want to show you here. So I'm going to just start the shape. If you took 101, you remember this as the polar problem from hell. We're just going to draw just a little bit of this perimeter here. So let's do a new metric part. I'm going to go to the front plane. I'm going to start a sketch. I'm going to draw my first line, roughly 94, 90 some odd millimeters. I'm going to go up at some angle a little ways, and then I'm going to slide over at an angle. All right. Let's get out. I'm not going to draw anymore. I just want you to see how we build this very differently from how you did it last semester. I'm going to smart dimension and do this length. It's 94. Side BC is 40. I want you to be very careful. If you do that and put in 40, it's going to be the wrong dimension. You got to make sure that your dimension is, for every edge, your dimension is parallel to the piece of geometry. That's 40. It gets more difficult when the line is closer to horizontal or vertical. You're going to have to really get over to force it to go parallel, but that's a common mistake on this problem. Please be careful. This is 35. Then I can put the angle in here. That's 135. That line's now black. And then out here, I have 150. This drawing gets really confusing. The dimensions are on top of each other. It's a mess, but you should be able to pull it off. Again, do the outside perimeter, extrude it, then start a new sketch. Draw the 2 circles. There's a vertical relation between this corner and the center point. These are horizontal. This line, relate it parallel to this edge of the part. Then you can draw this center line, put the 30 in there, draw a couple circles, put your 19 across. You should be able to handle it from there. Again, don't do diameter dimension. This is 19 across the line, so draw the 2 circles. You could equal relate them. Draw the tangent lines, trim it up. You should be able to do a point-to-point dimension across those 2 lines, and then cut through all. Okay? There you have it. Good luck. That's kind of all the week 1 stuff really fast, and we'll see you in class.